Hello? Yes, Mr. President. Yes, Mr. President, I can explain Section 39B and 112E of the Copyright Act, and how it was interpreted by the High Court in Roadshow Films. No problem. No, thank you, Mr. President. President, you'll get there. So, the purposes of Section 39B and 112E of the Copyright Act is to afford the carriage service a defense from liability for the authorization of the infringement of copyright merely because another person uses their facilities to do something which is prohibited. For example, download a film, download a movie, download a TV show, because no one's ever done that. So the appellate's case in Roadshow Films was that iiNet authorized the scheduled infringements, and that it did so by standing by and allowing the infringements to happen without doing anything. So we're lucky in a sense that we have a definition of what amounts to authorization for the purposes of the Copyright Act. Section 101A has three criteria, if you will, for three different ways that authorization can happen. So three things to take into account are 1. The extent, if any, of the person's power to prevent the act concerned. 2. The nature of the relationship between the person and the person who did the act concerned. And 3. Whether the person took any reasonable steps to prevent or avoid doing the act. So in this situation you have iiNet as the person with the power and the user doing the act concerned, downloading films, which is what Roadshow Films were so annoyed about. So the court found that even if it were possible to be satisfied that iiNet's inactivity over the receipt of a AFACT notice, Australian Federation Against Copyright Theft, and its subsequent media releases supported and encouraged its customers to continue making certain films available online, Section 101(1)A as to what amounts to authorization construed with 112E makes it plain that it wouldn't have been enough to make iiNet a secondary infringer, as an alleged authorizer must have the power to prevent primary infringements. So what's a primary infringement? A primary infringement occurs when a person who is neither the owner nor the licensee makes a film available online without the copyright's owner's consent. So there must be such a power to prevent, So as explained earlier in the case, the extent of iiNet's power over its users was very limited. It had no direct power to prevent the primary infringements, and could only ensure that a result happened indirectly once after all the bad things had happened, the bad things in the minds of Roadshow Films downloading of their copyrighted material. iiNet could only terminate the contractual relationship with its customers. So when considering all this, the High Court found that regardless of the effect of Section 112E and 39B, that iiNet's act didn't amount to authorization under 101(1)A. So the court said when looking at 112E and in turn 39B, although it produces that potentially the same thing, that the court found that these sections were enacted out of an abundance of caution, and it's providing protection when none is needed. So that's what it means, and I hope that helps. So thanks, and I'm going to go back to Barack and get a Medal of Honor.